Welcome to the Solid Verbal.
The Solid Verbal.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I've heard so many players say, well, I want to be happy. You want to be happy for a day? Eat a steak.
It's that woo-woo!
And now, Dan and Ty.
Welcome back to the Solid Verbal, boys and girls. My name is Ty Hildebrand. Joining me again, my good friend over there in New York City, Dan Rubenstein. Sir, how are you?
Part 2, Ty.
Part
two. I'm excited, Ty. We have like 18 pages of questions that we are trying to get through. We decided to do this mega Q&A preseason show. Obviously, part 1 came out on Wednesday. Thrilled to welcome in Ross Tucker to that show to talk about, I forget what you defined Wisconsin's offensive
beefy.
line as.
They're beefy.
But it was like optimal beefiness. There was a good turn of phrase that you used.
Thank you,
beefy.
Dan. Well, we had a fun time on Wednesday. We've got more questions that we're going to pull from here. I do want to start with a question to you, though, because some folks are going to be listening to our Wednesday show immediately before this show. So to truly be a pro and establish some continuity, I want to ask you a very important question about Italian food, just to get things kicked off here. We were talking about lasagna, and you know my theory about Italian restaurants, how I like to order the same thing at every Italian restaurant so that I can properly gauge which one is better than the others.
I like that we're starting this out with previously on the Solid Verbal.
That's right, exactly.
And it's about lasagna. Great.
My thing is not lasagna, but some sort of dish with vodka sauce. So whether it's penne vodka or rigatoni vodka, I like to gauge how good an Italian restaurant is by the quality of its vodka sauce.
It's like a creamy tomato sauce.
Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, if I'm in a pizza mood, either some form of pepperoni or soppressata, some sort of spicy cured meat pizza. And if I'm in a more meaty mood, it'll be chicken parm.
Okay.
And if it's more pasta, so I guess it sort of depends on the category. If we're talking more pasta, it'll be like a rigatoni and like a meat sauce, a bolognese type thing.
Didn't you have chicken parmesan when we went to the Italian restaurant out in Chicago?
I most certainly did, Ty, and it was wonderful.
Yeah. Well, don't forget that Chicago Live show is going to be posted on Wednesday. If you're interested in hearing who we selected at our Fantasy Things draft at the Vidum Theater, we had a great crowd. We had great fun afterwards. I ate 2.5 chicken tenders for those of you playing the home game. And yes, as I gave away the game a bit, I did dress up as a pilgrim during our unrecorded Q&A segment to make good on my promise to wear a pilgrim outfit if Virginia Tech beat Virginia in the Commonwealth Cup in 2017, which was a dumb thing to say. I know it.
I love the fire, though. I love that you were so confident about a relatively inconsequential game.
But I wasn't confident. This is what happens when I try to do a hot take.
I would say the self-confidence, not the confidence in Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I love the confidence in yourself. You made good on it. You looked wonderful. It was a cheap Amazon costume, but you made it work, Ty.
For those who have asked, for those who are interested, there will be future live shows. Dan and I are working on it. So stay tuned. Sign up for the newsletter at solidverbal.com. The brand new solidverbal.com, courtesy of our friends over at Superboss. All right.
I teased this question in part 1. Corny in Dunwoody. This is from Reddit. Okay. Long-time listener.
Yeah.
Your TV is broken and won't change the channel. Not moving. This Friday afternoon of Labor Day weekend. And oh my God, I gotta edit these before we get into it. So basically your TV breaks the Friday afternoon of Labor Day weekend and you're stuck on one single channel the whole weekend.
Okay.
Can't watch on your phone, iPad, laptop. Which channel would your preference be to be stuck on for those, 72 hours?
See, now this is a very good question. Yeah, go ahead.
So the options are ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, Big Ten Network, Fox Sports 1, and the SEC Network. Okay. Now, we can go over all the games, but we're not going to.
No.
Because that's just reading a lineup. What is your answer of those options?
See, here's the tough part for me. The Notre Dame game against Michigan is going to be on NBC. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be any other college football on NBC. You're going to be watching like golf all weekend.
Right.
If you pick NBC. So I don't think, as someone who hosts a Solid Verbal, I could pick NBC. I think I have to keep tabs on it through the Pontiac game-changing performances or halftime shows. I think you got to go with ABC, though. The biggest games are generally on ABC.
Sure. Not a lot of highlights, though. You're not going to be abreast of college football beyond the big games.
But you're not going to go Fox. What games are on Fox?
FAU, Oklahoma. Could be feisty. North Carolina, Cal. Akron, Nebraska.
I think you probably got to go ABC, just so that you can firsthand watch the biggest games of the weekend, save for Notre Dame and Michigan.
So my answer is ABC. You have Auburn, Washington, Bama, Louisville, and LSU, Miami. All neutral site games. So the flavor of college football outside of that Ohio State, Oregon State game. You're not really getting opening weekend, which kind of sucks. I figured there was going to be good ABC program. You maybe watch some Saturday morning cartoons on ABC before the games start. Guess what I learned today? ABC does not have Saturday morning cartoons anymore.
No, God, that's been
not
dead
a
for
single
like 8 years.
One. Really?
Yeah.
Do any of the networks have Saturday morning cartoons?
Maybe the Cartoon Network.
Well, I mean, cartoon. I'm sure there's like Noggin or a channel like that, cartoon specific. Yeah, I think the answer is ABC. Although ESPN gives you the immersive college football experience because you're getting game day, you're getting the halftime and the in-between shows, you're getting game day final, whatever.
What means more to you, having an immersive college football experience all weekend where you can stay abreast of the situation but can't watch all the games, or being able to watch the 3 biggest games or 3 of the biggest games all weekend without having the extra baggage of the scoreboard shows?
I'm going to say I'm actually going to switch to ESPN. Okay. I'm going to learn more about the college football weekend from ESPN. And after the weekend is over, I can go back and watch the specifics of those big games on NBC and ABC.
I think if you're a normal person, the answer is ABC. I think if you're Dan and I and you have to do a podcast on Sunday, the only answer is ESPN, because otherwise we're not ready to do the show Sunday morning.
Right.
All right. Where are we going next?
All right, next question. Let's go to... Oh, I love this question. We're going to have to pull up week 1 of the schedule.
Okay.
Because in a couple weeks, we actually have to preview these. But
Sure.
Nick wants to know, which first week game will be deceptive and give us the wrong opinion about 2 teams, also known as what first week game is most likely to be the Tyrone Swoops game from 2016. Notre Dame, Texas, 2016, where Notre Dame's season was not good.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
That is correct. That's very accurate.
Texas season,
Yeah.
not good.
Right.
Where we thought we had like 2 heavyweights just smashing each other in the face. Turns out it was a local match.
That's right.
It was a backyard brawl, and not in a good way.
Okay. So I don't think Notre Dame, Michigan's the answer here. I hope.
Okay, I think that's an option, though.
It is definitely an option, but I don't think it's the answer here.
What game is misleading?
I think you could make a really strong case for Miami LSU.
I think that's not a bad answer.
Okay, because there are plenty of questions about Miami and their quarterback situation, and they're going against a really good defense. So Miami could be fine offensively moving forward, but could really struggle in that game. You could come away from watching that game and think, oh gosh, Miami offense. Zzz. And then conversely, on the LSU side of things, we don't really know what we have with their offense, but Miami should also be pretty good on defense. I could see that game being an outright slugfest where one team wins like 17-14, and both teams, yes, I realize this is LSU, but both teams end up having a way better offense and a much different team from that point forward.
I think that's reasonable. I'm going to say Virginia Tech, Florida State, because I think there is a chance this is an ugly game, not because one team blows out another team, but because of how new things are for both of these teams. Florida State with the coaching staff overhaul, and who knows who starts at quarterback. And then Virginia Tech with so many new faces on defense. Offensively, going to have to rely on a couple new playmakers with the loss of a couple standout guys on offense. And Virginia Tech always feels like, to me, where they start the season off, that Ohio State season notwithstanding, the one they won that game, the year they won the game. But there's something that Virginia Tech is not a slow starter, but it takes a little bit of momentum to get to week 7, week 8, week 9. We're like, oh, Virginia Tech has the best defense in the ACC. Virginia Tech has an All-American caliber wide receiver. I think they take some time. And I think it's like a first half, maybe even 3/4 of just, maybe a touchdown comes from a turnover, maybe a touchdown comes from a broken play, where it's just not high level back and forth.
All right.
But I think by the end of the season, Florida State will have a lot of momentum, and Virginia Tech will have some much needed experience, especially on defense.
All right. Rapid fire. Let's get through as many of these as we can here in the next 20 minutes.
Troy wants to know, what rule change could college football enact that would make you feel you weren't watching real football anymore? I don't even know what real football means. I guess if you really couldn't tackle the quarterback,
Yeah.
something like that. If you could start challenging penalties, that's slippery to me in terms of it slows the game down a ton. You're taking power away from refs. I don't love that. But he has a second part to this question if you don't have a really good answer, Ty.
Go on. I'm listening.
What is the dumbest rule in the college football rule book? And he says, hint, this one hurts me too. It's the fumble forward out of the end zone being a touchback for the other team. And that hurts me because I watched Cameron Colvin do that in 2007. And it still hurts. And they lost to Cal on that. So I hate that rule.
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest every PI is 15 yards fan. I'm not a huge proponent of that. I don't know what the middle ground is, but I'm not in love with it.
I'm still not in love with targeting. And targeting is my answer here because no matter how many times they try to tweak it, I feel like it's poorly implemented. I understand the need to improve player safety. I understand the need to make sure that players aren't turning themselves into a missile with the helmet to try and enforce proper tackling technique. But on some level, football is going to be a rough game. You can discourage the behavior and still have it as part of the game just by the sheer consequence of people running at each other with full speed. So for me, I constantly feel like there's got to be a better way to implement targeting so that it discourages, but yet doesn't penalize in a way that is unjust. So targeting for me, always and forever, is the answer here.
Okay, fair enough. James wants to know, if Syracuse goes 4-8 again this season, or even 5-7, is it time for the Orange to move on from Dino Babers?
Here's the question that I would answer this question with.
Oh.
Yeah. If not Dino Babers, then who?
Then who?
Who else are you going to get?
It's a tough job, man.
I think Dino Babers is a good coach, Dan.
Sure.
I'm not sure Syracuse is necessarily a school that you could turn around in 3 years.
Ken Niumatalolo.
You
Jeff
answer
Monken.
Ken Niumatalolo for every single opening.
I just said, and he coaches within the same state, Jeff Monken.
Okay.
Army's won a couple in a row against Navy.
Right.
Overhauled everything there. A team that had been in a bad place. Maybe my answer is Jeff Monken. But I think the style of play that Dino Babers employs should work relatively well at Syracuse. I think they should be able to compete for a bowl every year.
Why are you convinced that the option's going to work somewhere? Didn't we see this experiment with Paul Johnson where they took him down at Georgia Tech and it hasn't really materialized in the way they hoped? Like, why are we so convinced that Ken Niumatalolo is going to work somewhere else?
Ty, I'm old enough to remember the 2014 Orange Bowl. I believe it was 2014, maybe 2015, whatever the season was, when Georgia Tech won the Orange Bowl.
What have they done since then?
They've been fine.
Okay.
They've been going to bowl games. Has Syracuse been going to bowl games?
Nope.
I ask you this, sir.
They haven't.
Georgia Tech's been fine. And I think it can work at a lot of places in which thinking a little bit differently about systems would go a long way.
Listen, I'm all about thinking differently. I'm just unconvinced. I'm unconvinced that this works wherever you put it.
I love the option, Ty. I
know.
do.
I think that's why you answer the way you do. That's what I'm getting at here, which is fine. That's a fine answer. Just saying, I remain unconvinced.
Who is the standalone, this comes to us from Richard, who is the standalone most exciting quarterback in the Power 5 this year? And why is your answer? Is it Phil Jurkovec? I guess he's technically not on a Power 5 team.
I think the answer is Kyler Murray.
What?
The answer is Kyler Murray.
What?
Most exciting quarterback. The answer is Kyler Murray.
I am shocked by that answer.
Why?
Why is he the most exciting quarterback?
Because there is that secondary element to Kyler Murray. Because if he blows a knee out, his other career that he signed $5 million to get is suddenly in question.
So most exciting because the most thrilling intense. At any moment, things could go terribly wrong.
I mean, the thrill of victory and agony of defeat is totally in play on every play for Kyler Murray.
Wow.
He could be really good. He could get twisted ankle and not play all year. There is an exciting storyline to Kyler Murray.
That's exciting? Wow,
Yeah.
you took this in such a dark way.
I think so. You're living on the edge of your seat, man.
I was just going to say Khalil Tate.
Well, Khalil Tate's the boring answer.
He could, but that's the right answer. Will Greer?
It's probably the right answer. Yeah, there's a million right answers. Trace McSorley's a right answer too. But in terms of pure intrigue, man, I'm real excited to see how this Kyler experiment works.
I'm going to parse words here. I'm going to say exciting means a positive context.
Oh, well, then it's probably Kyler Murray or Trace McSorley.
It's still Kyler Murray?
Then it's probably Khalil Tate or Trace McSorley, someone like that. A boring answer.
Wow. Man, I love that you went dark, though. I was unexpected. You're usually the bright, shining light of this show.
I know.
Next question. I like this question. Somebody asked about Stanford and Notre Dame and whether or not they can compete with their opponents with their recruiting strategy. Ivan, do you think schools like Notre Dame, Stanford, Northwestern, and other high academic schools will ever change their recruiting ways to more challenged schools like Ohio State and Alabama for the nation's top recruits? Or is the gap too big to ever be bridged? I feel these schools commit significantly less time, energy, and resources, but are okay taking 1 to 2 shots at the playoff every 10 years.
All right. So there are things here in this question that I disagree with.
I first and foremost, grouping Notre Dame with Stanford, obviously.
Okay, sure. No, I don't know if it's that the gap is so wide. I don't know if I'd say that. I also don't know if I'd say that they don't put the time and resources into the football program. The way that other schools do. That to me seems like the opposite is true. What I would say, though, in answer to this question, is that I don't think that they would change their ways because it really, truly is woven into the fabric of who they are. And I've talked about this before when we addressed Notre Dame being an independent, right? And people from the outside look at it and say, well, being an independent doesn't make sense. It's because Notre Dame is holier than thou and they just want to be different. And that could all be true, but you don't realize until you truly get closer to the Notre Dame football program how much they value that independence and how much they value it as part of their identity. And I think the same holds true for all the schools that have been mentioned here, that high academic standards are just sort of what they do. That's who they are. And in their world, they view that as a competitive advantage. So I don't envision that kind of mentality changing anytime soon. I just think it's what they've defined themselselves as and who they will be moving forward.
For no real reason in particular, I feel like you could convince Vanderbilt to be like, yeah, okay. All right, fine.
Vandy, okay. Sure. Vandy's kind of in a different spot there, yeah.
But. Duke has done a pretty good job. I mean, on the basketball front of things over the years, they've put in the effort recruiting, not football-wise in the same way, but they've built up that program nicely. No, I don't think Stanford and Notre Dame, which are the two Power 5-ish programs that have come closest to the playoff with that level of academics. I don't think they're going to change things. First of all, they both recruit really well. Their shortcomings are not necessarily a talent thing. Stanford has beaten USC pretty consistently over these past few years with inferior recruiting classes. Stanford has been on the upper echelon of college football in terms of grouping top programs of the past, 8-7 years, something like that. That's an incredible accomplishment. And as far as resources go, they don't pay David Shaw $1 million.
No.
They don't pay him a couple $1 million. They pay him many millions of dollars. They just put a ton of money into their stadium and their facilities. They recruit nationally, which, so does Notre Dame. But as anybody that has to recruit nationally knows, and in Stanford's case, because of grades and academic requirements, it is costly.
Yeah.
It is costly to go into Texas and Georgia and Virginia, as they have, to get top level guys, to get Kevin Hogan out of Virginia, to get Andrew Luck out of Texas, Walker Little. These guys are no joke, far away and costly to recruit. And Stanford has done a fantastic job of doing so. And same goes for Notre Dame, recruiting Southern California, recruiting all over the Midwest, recruiting, Florida, recruiting anywhere that there is talent that can get into Notre Dame and wants to go to Notre Dame. Brian Kelly and his staff will go after them. Yeah. So I think they've put more resources than I think a lot of people think.
All right, where are we going next?
Let's go to
rapid fire. I'm
scrolling way up. I just want to talk about Ed and Lisa McCaffrey some more, if that's okay with you. Maui beer guy. I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
Dan, you live in New York City, where there's an alumni/fan bar for every major college football team. Have you ever gone to a bar of a team to watch one of their rivalry games? So LSU, Bama, Iowa, Iowa State, just to enjoy the fandom and energy of the game. If not, why the hell not? Okay, so yes. My answer is yes. I've been to a bunch of these bars. I usually don't, because I want to watch a lot of games at once, and I'd like to have my laptop on me to be checking things because of work and the podcast and everything. But the experience is phenomenal. I went to a West Virginia bar in Midtown, and I don't remember. I think it was halftime. It was West Virginia, God knows who, and players run off the field. Volume goes down. Take Me Home Country Road gets turned up. The whole place goes nuts singing it, and it was incredible. But I have been for some Thursday night games. I've been to a bunch of these. Part of the problem is also some of these bars are terrible. They're terrible bars who attract terrible people, not necessarily the college football fans, but the other people in that bar. So I've been to a bunch of them. They're extremely fun. You just have to do some scouting. Like all things in life, you got to scout.
You got to scout. All right.
Have you been to any of the New York bars, the team bars, the alumni bars?
I feel like I was at a Michigan bar at one point.
I went to Professor Tom's. That's a Michigan bar in the East Village.
Yeah.
Real cramped, but decent nachos. Huge.
All right. Real quick, Dan. Jim wants to know, is it too early to drink pumpkin beer while watching games during weeks 1 through 4 of the college football season? So pumpkin beer in September. Now, this is like poking at whether or not you like pumpkin beer. I'm gonna put that off to the side for a second and say that I saw pumpkin beer at Wegmans like 2 weeks ago. So it seems like they're trying to out pumpkin beer their competition by putting their pumpkin beer out earlier and earlier every year. And so if you're into pumpkin beer, I think your best option is probably to drink it sometime in September, because the good ones are out really early. Now, that is separate from the fact of whether or not you should be drinking pumpkin beer. And well, we could probably do a whole other podcast episode on that. But the answer, Jim, I think is it is not too early, because if you're into it, it is required.
Consume what you'd like, when you like, time of year wise, responsibly. And if you like pumpkin beer, drink your pumpkin beer. If you're hit by a bus and you haven't touched your pumpkin beer, nobody can say he went out like he lived, full of pumpkin beer.
There you go.
Take advantage while we're all here.
Jordan says that LSU has now had 4 of their last 20 scholarship quarterbacks finish their college careers at LSU. Not a question, just wanted to complain. Thank you, Jordan. I'm sorry. Lowell Narcisse has announced that he is transferring. I believe I saw that McMillan may be transferring as well. Mm-hmm. So that quarterback competition between Joe Burrow and Miles Brennan appears to be at least somewhat narrowed down. We will find out more about that as obviously we get closer to the football season. Hopefully some folks are reading The Athletic, theathletic.com/solidverbal, and check it out. Bless you.
Woo! Sorry, Ty, I got overwhelmed. What is your like view of that LSU situation? It is troubling.
Well, it's troubling.
It is troubling looking at the future. And I don't know, I compared it from the Solid Verbal account to a restaurant space that no matter who moves in, if it's a kebab place, if it's a pizza place, if it's a cookie place, nobody's succeeding. I don't know if it's just cursed burial ground.
Well, it is not a talent thing. It is not a talent thing.
A bunch of changed positions. If you remember Russell Shepard becoming a safety.
Yeah. I don't think it's a talent thing. I think the talent that they're bringing in is obviously high end enough to support having a really good quarterback at LSU. It is either recruiting the wrong kind of quarterback for a system or the coaching. One or the other. It has to be one of those two things because I really don't think it's the raw talent.
I think Russell Shepard moved to receiver, by the way. The more I think about it, not safety, but we'll see. Man, I don't know. I think it's because there has been weird continuity, and at a certain point, every program needs to be torn down and rebuilt back up. And, Ed Orgeron as a Les Miles assistant, Les Miles being there forever. There's just certain ideas and certain ways of doing things that carry over. And perhaps offensively, now Steve Ensminger takes over the offense. He was the previous interim coach under Ed Orgeron when he took over a couple of years ago, now that Matt Canada's gone. There's just something that it needs to be rethought with new people. And I think eventually LSU will develop and succeed with quarterbacks that they themselves recruit. And Joe Burrow could succeed, but he's not an LSU quarterback in the way that recruits are. He wasn't developed through that system. I don't know.
All right, Dan, we're going to do 2 rapid fire questions, and then we've got a special interview to bring people. I'm going to take one for myself here, and then you get to pick one for yourself.
Please.
All right. Anthony wants to know, especially for Ty, am I a Sheets guy or a Wawa guy?
Oh my God. Ty, please answer.
The answer here is Wawa.
Okay.
The only answer is Wawa here, so count me down as a Wawa guy.
Let's start at the beginning, because I assume we have people that are listening outside of Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yeah.
So, what does this question mean?
Yeah,
Sheets with a Z.
Yeah, these are 2 convenience stores / gas stations / places where you can go and get an MTO sandwich that are
What is MTO?
Made to order.
Oh my God, Ty,
one of the
I
little
love
touch
lingo.
screens. Sure. So Sheets, I think, started up around near State College or Altoona, and Wawa started here in Eastern Pennsylvania. It's kind of like a staple here in Eastern Pennsylvania. I think the Wawa subs and certainly the Wawa coffee are a lot better than Sheets.
I've seen this all over. My friend Sam goes to New Jersey. I think he's from New Jersey. And he's always taking pictures of his Wawa sub.
Yeah, they're good.
WAWA. What makes it so good?
I've never been able to pinpoint it, but all I can say is it's probably the bread on the sandwich that feels a little fresher. Whereas Sheets is more of like a Subway kind of like manufactured sub. It feels like Wawa has a freshness quotient that's a little higher.
Wawa, the freshness quotient.
There you go. That's a free advertisement.
So it's sort of like how people in Florida and the Southeast feel about Publix. I'm not comparing the quality of the two, but there is just something locally and tribal about, locally desirous about the Wawa sub. I need to try it the next time I come out there.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Okay. Sometime this season we'll do it. And final question, you get to pick.
Okay. We don't talk about this enough, even though we've mentioned it before. Let's go to our old friend Dan, who I believe is talking about taking his dad to football games and where to go, like the bucket listiness, because there is an element of people listen to the show, people who are just college football fans. There's like that second bachelor party. Me and my buddies get together every year. We try to see a new college football place.
Sure.
We've taken a form of this question many times, but he's taking his dad to LSU, which is absolutely on that list, if not the top of the list. It's the first time going on a trip like this. What other stadiums should they or anybody see? And is Michigan, his home state, a good pick for 2019? To answer his first question, absolutely. Ann Arbor's great. The Big House is great. It's something that everybody should see. It is one of those places, one of those locales that help to define what college football is. And if you haven't been, I take that back. I went to Michigan, Ohio State in 2007. But it's been a long time since I've been to the Big House for a game, and I can't wait to go back. Ty, you have not traveled extensively in the way that I have.
Nope.
Facts only. What would you say if you were getting together with the fellas?
Yeah.
Go see a college town nobody's been to. Go see a stadium, a big game. What boxes would you try to check?
Well, I mean, one that I'm dying to see is Clemson.
A great time.
I'm dying to see Clemson.
Tougher to get to.
Yeah.
But worth it.
Tougher to get to. And kind of along the same lines, Blacksburg is another one that has
real tough to get to. Yeah.
A rich tradition, but maybe a little bit off the beaten path. The
super fun.
Third that I would throw out there would be Madison, Wisconsin, because it might not be in the deep south and the weather might be a bit colder come middle to the end of the season, but everyone talks about the incredible tradition in Madison. And, I know our 2 Q&A shows have been pretty heavy on Wisconsin here, but Madison, Wisconsin continually comes up among people who I know and trust as one of the coolest places to watch college football.
Tennessee is very fun. Ole Miss is fun and different within the SEC. I've been to most of the bigger places. Tennessee, it's enormous. And it's like the Big House in that it houses, 110,000 people or something like that, but it's banked a lot more dramatically. The stands are. So you really feel fans on top of you down by the field. So I would definitely say Tennessee. Washington is a great time, and it's also right on the lake, and people are also tailgating on boats. Across the Big 12, Austin is a great town, but the experience of going to a Texas game is not all that overwhelming. So I would say, Stillwater is a little out there in terms of distance from a major airport, but not too bad. Norman as well. Norman's not that far from Oklahoma City. I'm trying to think. It's stadiums I haven't been to that I'd like to go to. Ohio State's fun. Ohio Stadium is also one of those enormous places.
Yeah.
But getting out of the Big Ten, getting out of the SEC, Clemson is a good answer. Miami does probably not worth it. Florida State is fine, but I don't know if I'm putting it up with the rest of them. I think that's everything I really have.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of other ones that we've been to that are really good. Like Notre Dame's an experience and Penn State's an experience, but for me anyway, those are my 3 answers. Clemson, Virginia
Penn State
Tech,
is
Wisconsin.
Difficult to get to.
Yeah.
Penn State, I flew into Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is Pennsylvania tie.
It's long, man. 5 hours across.
Holy. And it's 5 hours across, and then you drive an hour and a half, and it's like, ooh, detour real quick.
Yep.
And then you're going around things, and there are no lights on the highways or the interstates. It's a far away drive from everything. That's what I will say. You know what? I'll give one more answer. West Virginia's a good time.
Yeah, Morgantown, baby.
West Virginia, Morgantown. You can fly into Pittsburgh. It's not that far from Pittsburgh. Morgantown's a good time.
So here's how we're going to close out. We talked about how we didn't have a chance to really preview Conference USA, right?
Well, the Conference USA West, I believe. Yeah.
Conference USA West. We have done something that no other college football podcast has done.
That's right.
Previewing their conferences before the start of the season, Dan. We're going to close out on that note, correct?
We are going to close out on this note. Obviously, the Western Division of Conference USA has a lot of interesting teams, a lot of teams who have made noise in various ways in recent years. We had Seth Luttrell on, the North Texas head coach, earlier during our scheme theme month. And I just figured, why not actually go to the source? So I had a conversation with starting tight end Kelvin Smith about all things North Texas, how camp is going, how the season's looking, the rest of the teams across Conference USA, where the Mean Green might improve a little bit. And let me tell you something. I'm a little bit higher on Mason Fine and the Mean Green than I was before. So here it is. And with that, we are now joined by Kelvin Smith, tight end, H-back, North Texas, the Mean Green. Yes, sir. Successful, huge offense. They go 9-3 last year. And to everybody who says we are not looking out for really, really good group of 5 teams, my goodness, we've got a star in the making. Kelvin, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. I am pumped to talk to you. You guys were extraordinarily fun to watch last year. I expect more fun things this year. You're on the John Mackey Award watch list. So everything is looking good in August. How's camp so far?
It's going good. We're about midway through, and we're just going out there and competing, flying around, and just making each other better every single day.
What's the difference? Obviously, this will be your 3rd year on the field for North Texas. What's the difference between, I guess, the year 2 offseason last year when the offense is installed, the team improves, it becomes sort of feisty, and then last year going to a flat out winning team? What's an offseason like after that kind of improvement?
It's just changing the standard, just continuing to raise it because everybody has an understanding of the playbook, of the scheme. So now it's just time to just continue to raise the standard and expect more out of each other.
So do you feel like the playbook is going to be, I mean, not to give state secrets away, but similar? Do you think, you're staying ahead of the curve? Do you think there are tweaks? Do you think there are things that are being overhauled? How do you look at what your responsibility is going to be as this offense evolves?
I think the playbook, it's about the same. Every now and then we add in different tweaks and adjustments for specific teams. But our mindset is always we can go out there with 2 or 3 plays, and our mindset is just go out there and execute those 2 or 3 plays all game, and nobody should be able to stop us. That's just the mentality we have when we step on the field.
What is your view of the teams you played last year? Obviously, some top teams getting a lot of attention. You finish out the season in somewhat disappointing fashion in the bowl game, but North Texas in a bowl game is, it's a big deal. It's an accomplishment. How do you view Conference USA as it stands now? You feel like it's getting to a really good place? Who stands out in your mind right now within the conference?
I'll say FAU, Louisiana Tech. But honestly, up and down, I feel like the whole schedule and the whole conference is starting to rise, and it's not many guys that you can look past over and be like, oh, that's an easy dub. Every single team is going to come out here and give us all they have.
A couple of, a few weeks last year, you had to score 40 to win some games. Obviously, the defense is a work in progress. You're looking into this defense every practice against the 1s, against the 2s, wherever. Where do you expect this defense to improve with another year of experience?
I expect them to just continue to just improve in every phase. Another year in the scheme. Coach Ref is taking over full time for his second year, so they're settling into that scheme real well, and they're competing with us every day and making us better every single day.
And give me a name on offense that you expect. Obviously Mason's name is one that is growing and growing, but among the pass catchers, who do you expect to, outside of you, to increase their visibility? Who do you think America will find more out about this year?
You're going to see a lot of Jalen Darden. He switched his number to 1, so he'll be wearing number 1, but he's electric with the ball in his hand. And I usually get a lot of credit for my versatility, but I think he's right up there with me from a versatility standpoint. You can literally put him anywhere on that offense, and you're going to see just him make plays all over the field. So
you have Coach Littrell's ear. Obviously, he's called you very versatile, but within a versatile offense and you being a tight end and H-back, if you have his ear and you're able to say, use me like this, put me in this kind of position, use me on this kind of play. Do you want to carry out of the backfield? Do you want a trick play pass? Do you want, to be up the seam more? What is your desire out of the tight end position for 2018?
It's really about the same as it was for 2017, just continue to expand my role in the passing game. But my mindset has always been I'm a primary blocker, and that's just what I love to do. I have a passion for blocking, and I get excited when they dial up a run play, more excited when they dial up a run play rather than a pass play for me.
Excellent. And what do you expect out of the offense outside of you this year? What has been the big difference in your quarterback Mason Fine as he enters year 3, putting up big numbers and becoming a bigger name?
Just more confidence. I remember him coming in as a freshman and coming in that first game against SMU in the season opener, and he came out there with a lot of confidence. But throughout the season, it got shattered and shaked up a little bit. But over the past 2 years, he's just showing just more confidence, taking the offense and the team by the helm, and just being a great leader for us.
Kelvin Smith, thank you very much for your time, and good luck this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Boom. There you go, Dan.
Yep. And to go through the rest quickly of the division, Louisiana Tech, Skip Holtz, should be pretty decent and balanced on offense. I like them a good amount. Southern Miss, just not there yet. UAB should have a really good defense, replacing a couple of key parts, but remains an unbelievable story. Bill Clark has hired his old offensive coordinator back to that position to sort of regain the old magic. UTSA, they lose Marcus Davenport and a couple big pieces on defense, but I think they're still going to be there. I would file them under your very exclusive pluckiness rankings, Ty.
Yeah.
And UTEP is they're going to struggle. First year coach, former Kansas State I think offensive coordinator Dana Dimmel. I'm pronouncing everything wrong. UTEP's going to struggle, but that's all I have on UTEP. Go Miners.
Go Miners. Okay. Well, thank you again to everyone who downloaded the show, who listened in. We've got our Fantasy Things show coming up on Wednesday. Dan and I will be back to record next Sunday a new show as we gear up for the college football season. The next show after our next show is going to be our week 1 preview.
Oh my God, Ty, we did it.
The doldrums are
got through.
About over. Yeah.
Oh my God. We've got a cool show, by the way, planned for. So the Fantasy Things draft live from Chicago is Wednesday.
Yes.
And then Sunday, so a week from this episode, will be a new type of episode that we've never done. And it's just sort of a tweaked season preview in our own way.
Entirely naked.
I am pretty pumped for this time.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
All right. Well, everyone, hope you enjoy the Fantasy Things show. We will catch up with all y'all in about a week with a new show that we're very excited about. In the meantime, keep the tweets and Facebook messages and Instagram comments coming. Don't forget to check out the subreddit, reddit.com/r/solidverbal. Go to our new website, courtesy of our friends over at Superboss, solidverbal.com.
So cool.
And sign up for the newsletter of intent, where, of course, you will get all of our Solid Verbal updates mailed to you. We've been sending out links to all of our shows in case you missed one. And as always, stay tuned to the Solid Verbal store, which again is linked off of our main solidverbal.com website. We've got new stuff that is incoming.
So much is happening, Ty.
A lot going on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your week. Enjoy our Fantasy Things show. Dan and I will be back next Sunday. In the meantime, as always, stay solid.
Peace.